I feel that, I mean, he was great in it, don't get me wrong, but Tommy Lee Jones' role in that was so big that when they made the sequel, it was the Tommy Lee Jones movie.
Yeah, yeah. I like that
So
sequel.
yeah, I did too.
Robert Downey
I did
Jr.
like
was
the
in
first.
that one.
What's that?
Robert Downey Jr. was in that one in the
Oh
sequel.
yeah. Oh geez. Yeah.
Yeah, he was like the villain FBI agent who was kind of like the bad guy in the end.
That's right. Oh boy. Wow. That is a long time ago. That was when he. That was like when he got in, like his troubles and stuff.
Yeah,
When he,
way pre
so.
Iron Man.
Oh boy. I've seen almost everything on here. That one is a huge favorite of mine. I liked Groundhog Day.
Yep.
That's a great movie.
So I'm gonna
Mission.
take you through the ones that I picked out. Like I said, I
Yeah.
clipped
Yeah.
out about like 28, so we don't have to stay on each one too long. But
Okay.
just a little bit of our recollection and memories from it. Here's the first one
So. Oh, Leprechaun.
that came out early 1993.
Oh my God! Oh, I didn't know Warwick Davis was the Leprechaun in
Yep,
that.
he
I thought
was
it was.
the Leprechaun, and it was Jennifer Aniston's one of her first like blockbuster, big Hollywood movies.
Yeah. Oh wow! Oh my God! Leprechaun. That was. Have you? They refer to this in another movie, and it just makes you know. This is one of those like scary, but it's supposed to be a little bit. I mean, how afraid am I going to really be of a leprechaun? You know, or
I
like
used
the
to watch
child's
these
play
movies
thing.
with my friends. We would just laugh at them.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was
There's there's
hilarious.
there's legit scary movies like The Thing by John Carpenter, and then there's the funny scary movies like Leprechaun or the Child's Play one too. It's got one-liners in it. It's
Yeah,
goofy and like and no nobody's that foolish as to not be able to get away from a 3 foot tall
exactly. I would
leprechaun.
just kick it across the street and run.
Right? Yeah, that's the thing. Like Child's Play, it's like
Burn it.
throw the doll into a fire or something. So,
That's
but
a
no,
good
it is
comparison. It
funny,
is
and
kind of like
I
a Child's Play type movie.
yeah, and it is kind of well known amongst the horror community, and there's several, like all horror movies, there's way too many adaptations and sequels to that.
Oh gosh, yeah. He went to
Yeah,
space. He went to the hood. He went
yeah. I was
to
gonna say, isn't there one Leprechaun in the Hood?
yeah. And I used to be like, we used to love watching them, and they would come out and they would be on Cinemax. I remember we would
Yeah.
catch
Oh
them on
my God,
Cinemax.
my grandmother had HBO, so if you had that or Cinemax,
Yep.
the other one.
Yeah.
That was that was a big deal. All right, so that's
All
Leprechaun.
right. So I was also going to say that 1993, the year I picked at random, it seems to be honestly probably one of the greatest years in movies.
Oh
We're going
no,
to get to some
it
movies on
was.
this
It
list
had
that are just amazing. The sheer amount of
yeah,
classic good movies and like 90s action movies too
yeah.
that are just
Like the
great.
Schwarzenegger type movie.
Yeah.
I
This year
always
was
thought I
awesome.
was biased because I was like 18 or 19 around this time. So I'm like, oh well, it's just the era I was in because I was younger and everything was great and this. But I look back and I'm like, there were some really good movies.
Yeah,
So
because like a lot of my favorites, um, they're all on this list. I'm like, I can't believe they were all in one year.
no, really, Jurassic Park was. I mean, Super Mario was supposed to be huge, so that was going to be a
Yeah,
blockbuster. But no,
that didn't do well.
I love bringing that movie up. It's great, but
This is
oh,
probably one of my favorite movies of all time. Is
I can
Groundhog Day.
I can understand why.
Yeah,
It's to not to make a joke, but I feel it's pretty timeless. Like it's aged,
yeah.
it's
It's
aged
so
very
interesting. I
well.
could watch it over and over. And Bill
Oh
Murray
yeah,
is great.
yeah.
Harold Ramis
Oh,
directed
that's
it.
right.
And
Well,
he plays has a cameo in it as the doctor.
yeah, that's right. When he's doing the MRI or
Yeah,
the X-ray or whatever, the brains when he thought he had a biopsy.
there's theories that about like online you can search like how long was he actually in this time loop?
Yeah,
Was
yeah.
he in there for
But
a year? Some people say it was 10,000 years,
well,
and
one of the
it's just really
there's
interesting to think about.
one of the estimates that I read that I liked. It was they took the time it would take to get good, like when he was ice sculpting or playing the piano.
Right.
They they took the time to figure out how long it would take to get that good at. So
Several
it's so
years, probably,
yeah,
at least
yeah,
several
yeah.
decades, I would think.
So and I like I like the character. smaller characters.
And of all the movie like premises, I would like to find myself in this scenario. Like I
Yeah,
imagine myself something like if it were Groundhog Day right now, that would be great. I could just relive this day and try every little you know
yeah, and
option and choice and see what
I like
happens. That would be
I
great.
like the part where he was getting bored too. He was sitting out there and he knew like a dog was gonna bark or somebody was gonna walk by.
Yep.
And then it was like it was a funny movie, but then there was the sad part where he's trying to save the homeless guy and he couldn't
Oh
do it.
yeah, that got
So
emotional. Yeah,
yeah,
it's a lot of laughs.
yeah,
There's a lot of good one-liners. I could quote that movie
yeah.
pretty close.
That, I like
Whenever he's at the bank watching them, and she comes up to get quarters, and he's like counting down, and he knows exactly what's gonna happen at each
yeah,
second, and then
takes
he
the
grabs
bag
this
of
big
money.
bag of money from the back. It's
Yeah,
awesome.
the armored car.
Yep.
So oh no, and there's something else I liked in it too. I mean, it's from beginning to end too. It's they get right into it. The character development was fast, and the movie was it was a fun movie. And
Yeah. And of
you know,
course, it's got Bill Murray's brother in it as like
which
the
one's his
mayor or
who's his
something.
brother?
You know his brother?
Who? No, I don't know who is his brother an actor or does he just look
Yeah,
like
it's something Doyle.
O- O'Doyle?
No, his
O'Doyle
name is like
Murray.
something Doyle Murray.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Let me look this up real quick. Yeah, this guy,
Oh,
Brian Doyle Murray.
which character was he in the movie? Oh, was he the one running the groundhog
He's
stuff?
the one that chokes on the stake,
Oh,
and he's
yep.
like at the Groundhog Festival. I think he's the one sort of running it.
Yeah, yeah. He had the pup. Oh, okay. I
So
didn't know that.
yeah,
Who
there's a
also?
lot of movies that Bill Murray does, and his brother shows up in little cameos or little
Oh,
roles.
that's pretty cool. I didn't know that. That's good to know.
Brian Doyle Murray. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
All right, here's
Huh.
the next one.
Army of Darkness.
1993.
Oh boy.
It says 1992 American Dark. I think it was kind of on the cusp of because it was in the new year. Maybe it came out in December, but it was still in theaters in January.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But
Because I'm familiar with this series. Where is this the Shop S Mart guy?
yeah,
Shop. Yeah. That
yeah.
was. No.
And I really don't remember too much about it, except that I used to watch it a lot with my friends, and we used to laugh our asses off. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like this one I didn't get too much into, but I do like it's quotable and
it's a
it's
classic.
it's like a fun.
People, Sam Raimi.
Yeah. And it'd be a good movie to have on like if you were at a party or something like that because
Yeah,
you don't have to pay close attention to it.
yeah. Bruce Campbell is in it. He's hilarious. It's nothing you take seriously, but it's
Yeah.
got those practical effects that are so good in the 80s and 90s, with horror and a lot of
That
blood
that
and stuff.
that was a big thing in that era too, because that stuff was getting a little more like the practical effects when they do stuff, but that stuff just ages well because it's legitimately there.
And there's
You
something
know, it's
just comical about it too. That whenever a skeleton that's coming at you is moving a certain way, and it's
yeah.
kind of like whenever you walk into a Halloween store now and they have all those
Oh, the stuff
animatronic
that
things.
jumps
That's
out. Yeah.
a lot of that looks like that.
And
CGI stuff that moves more realistic. They can make it like motion capture, but back in those days, a lot of it was kind of like almost like stop motion, or someone was
stuff.
just
Yeah.
puppeteering it,
Yeah.
so it's jerking around and looks just the
And
manner of way it moves looks hilarious.
and when the story's good, it doesn't matter how bad. I mean, the effects can be. Because I'll still watch the original Clash of the Titans, and it's like I know the
Yeah,
effects are crappy, but it's a really good. It's a really good movie.
something charming about that movie though, the way those
Yeah.
effects
Yeah.
are done, because it's like
That's
it's
one of my
history.
favorites. So,
All right, the next one is it came out 1993. I watched it maybe once or twice, maybe probably just
uh,
once, and I couldn't watch it again. Even now, I don't want to see this movie again because it's creeped the hell out of me.
oh, geez.
Remember
Yeah,
this
that's
one?
got some serious messed up. I kind of like those movies, though, because it might actually be like that. You know what I mean? It's like, it's, it's kind of like, I don't want to see if they're friendly. I want to see how they would treat us like we might treat them.
or like we treat animals or something, that
Right.
we
Yeah. Yeah.
bring
So
in.
somebody.
We snatch up some animal from its family, do some research on it. It has no clue what's going on, and we
Right.
don't
And
care
that's
what it's
the other
thinking or
can't
what it's going
communicate.
through.
You know what made me? This made me think of a saying. I heard somebody say this where we're like 1% smarter than like chimps or 1% different in DNA.
Yeah,
What if there was something 1% different in the other direction?
yeah. How much advanced would that be? I think that was Neil
Right? It's
deGrasse
like
Tyson who
are
was
they going to look
saying
at
that.
us like our smartest one can do what their 4 year old can do?
Yeah,
You
that
know what
was
I
Neil
mean? And
deGrasse
it's like,
Tyson.
yeah. So no, that's a pretty good. It makes me think about that District 9 is the same type of movie
Well, that's
with the
another good movie. I like that one.
yeah. I really
That's
do.
worth a
Yeah, but
rewatch.
it's one of those movies where they don't hold back on showing what something's capable of. And it's
Yeah.
pretty yeah, it's pretty
But that
gruesome.
that there's a scene in that movie where he's up and he's getting operated on or experimented on. That just freaked me out.
Yeah,
And when
yeah, that's
he's like getting abducted and the big light shines down on him and he's getting whipped around. Cause
yeah.
like
I think
I believe in a lot of that stuff. Like that could be real, and I don't even want
yeah,
to
well,
think about.
that's the thing too. Is like the mystery of it too. It's like this isn't outside the realm of possibility. It's not like a Frankenstein monster
Yeah,
or something like that on Earth here.
and
It's
to
like
be
no,
that
this is something that
defenseless
could
against something like that, like what would you do?
yeah.
So
The
that
fact
one still
I think
creeps me out.
the fact that it can happen, that there is the possibility,
All right,
could be pretty.
let's go on to the
Uh,
next one. And
um,
you saw this one. It
yeah,
was the third one, and it's not the good ones. The first two
no,
are pretty good. I like the first
the,
two.
I like the first one because it's more like the comic book where it's it's darker. Um,
Shredder is
it's
interesting as a character in that
yeah,
one.
they say damn in it.
Yeah,
It was considered very violent when it came out. The second one was okay, and then this one was just like they had. I feel like there were so many villains in the comics and the cartoons that they didn't need to do this time travel thing. They could have had
that
other
was
villains
lame.
coming out. And the animatronics I felt were crappy, and it was just. It seemed like it was more of a kids movie. It was just a bunch of one-liners
Big
and
step
stuff. And
back. Yeah, big step back on that one.
yeah, I think that's probably why it didn't get rebooted for a long time, or at least no one explored the franchise for quite some time.
So, which is the
So
one with Super Shredder? Is that the first one?
no, it's the second.
That's the second one. See, I get
Yeah,
the
because
first two kind of mixed up, but I know that they're the ones I like. And this
yeah.
one is like they're in the old West, right?
Oh, the third one.
The third one,
Yeah,
or no, or they're in like ancient times.
well, they time travel in the third one,
Yeah, they go
and
back, and I'm
there's
just not
like
interested in that. I don't know. Wish they would have
it's
kept
a
it in the
it's a cool
present or
concept,
even
but
future.
it's a shitty movie. That really that's what I got because like Splinter looked terrible, and like he
Oh
looked like
God,
he was rushed. The turtles looked kind of stupid,
yeah,
and it's just like on paper I'm like, oh, this would be a really good story, but I feel like if it was like a PG-13 rated movie or even an R rated movie, it would have been a strong story. Because that
yeah.
part, the script sounded good, but like when they acted out, it was just a bunch of goofiness, and they were fighting with random weapons that they find in a room or something you wouldn't even use as a weapon.
Yeah,
And it was just,
I
yeah,
don't remember much of it except it just didn't do it for me. Here's the
yeah,
next one.
it's definitely a thumbs down.
Do you know
You,
this movie, Dave?
you know what? I know what it's about, but I've never seen it.
I really like this movie. I don't know why. Um, I used to watch it all the time, like on Cinemax or something, like one of those movie channels we had.
Uh huh.
And yeah, I put it up on the list because I remember watching it over and over because I was really at that time in my life I was really interested in like government and
Right.
the president and the Secret Service and all that, how that works. And that's a really good movie to see, like, the inside of the White House and like how all that works. And it's got
It
a lot
does
of good
sound like
drama,
something I
and
would.
Sigourney Weaver's in it. She's pretty good.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say it's Dr. Gordon Weaver and Kevin Kline and
Yeah,
okay. But yeah, it seems like it'd be a movie. It sounds like something I would watch. I just haven't seen it. It's not a movie I would avoid.
it's an interesting
Uh,
premise. He replaces the president who dies or goes
right,
into a coma, and he looks like him enough. But I'm thinking these days that would never fly. You couldn't do this movie
right.
because it's just like the president is too televised at this point,
Yeah.
and with the facial recognition and I mean,
No, I'm sorry,
I don't see
I
that movie
can't,
working
I
these
can't
days.
offer much critique on this movie, having not seen it, but
It's
I
a
do
good one.
remember the ads for it. So,
Here we go, the next one. This is our first sort of
oh,
action thriller
yeah, yeah. This one I
with
like. I
Stallone.
saw this in the theater.
I did too. I remember
Yeah,
that intense scene at the beginning
yeah,
where the girl is dropped from, she
yeah.
slips
Oh
from his
yeah,
grip
yeah,
and they're over this huge chasm or something.
yeah. I remember that. Well, they parodied it in the Ace Ventura movie, but it was with a raccoon.
Yes.
And I saw that in the theater too, and I heard somebody, some lady like cried out when the raccoon fell. No, knowing it was a comedy, but it was just like, oh
I had
no.
totally forgotten about that parody. Like, you're right. Ace Ventura
Yeah,
did do that.
I think it was the second Ace Ventura.
Ah, yeah, I don't
So
remember which. Those, that's another one where I get the two confused. You know, the first one was
no,
something to do with
it
the
was the second one because he was in Africa when he did
Africa. Yeah,
that.
he was in Africa in the second one.
Yeah.
When Nature Calls, right?
So, but no, Cliffhanger was and that's a good Stallone movie too. That was outdoorsy action.
It's got John Lithgow in it, who's still rocking, as in
Oh yeah,
major roles. I just saw him in Conclave,
he
so
plays a good villain too in
he's
movies where
great.
he's the
Yeah,
villain.
he's very wide range. He does
Yeah. Oh
comedy
yeah,
with
he's been around forever. Well, he was on Third Rock,
Third
right?
Rock. Yeah, yeah. So that was a good one, and here's that one we've been talking about. 1993,
Oh my
famous
God,
movie.
Super Mario. Because Bob Hoskins is just coming off of Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and who else? They had a few other people considered for the role. Um, but I guess he didn't even know it was a video game movie
Right.
that they were making. His like son told him or something,
Yeah,
and
some
he
family
liked.
member twisted his arm. Oh yeah, you should do this, so he did it, and then
Yeah,
it
see,
just sounded like the production was just a train wreck.
yeah. The story I've heard about, I'm like, oh my, and stuff would change every day. So,
Yeah.
but the thing is, like the fans just wanted that so badly. It's just like it. I feel like it wasn't high tech enough. It wasn't low tech enough. It wasn't
I
like
actually
it just
liked it though when I rewatched it the other day. I was into it. I
it,
thought,
it is a
of
decent
all of the
it
things
is
that
a
I know
decent
about the
movie,
background and the
but
production
the way
nightmare, it still turned out pretty like a guilty pleasure, like a cult
yeah,
classic.
you know what? I would say it is a pretty good description of that type of movie. That does that fits pretty well like this.
There's
Yeah,
nothing
I
like
think
it,
this
quite like it, and it's nice to have those types of movies that aren't trying to be like everything else.
right.
Even if it
No,
wasn't by on purpose, it was by accident that it came out that way, kind of. But it's just kind of one of
yeah,
those rare gems, you know.
it's disappointing. I wonder what would have happened in the movie industry if that movie had been as good as it was supposed to be. You know what I mean? Or just the phenomenon it was supposed to be.
Yeah,
Because
video
Mario was
game
getting
movies
huge at
took
the
a
time.
dive after that.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
That's it.
the next one is probably one of the most successful movies of 1993. Can you guess?
All right. Jurassic Park.
Jurassic Park,
Yeah.
Steven
Oh yeah.
Spielberg,
Yeah.
Laura Dern.
I think I saw that in the theater, but I don't remember.
I did see that in the theater. I remember going with my grandma,
Uh huh.
and then I remember we went to go shopping or something afterwards, and people were talking about it. It was like the talk of the town. Everywhere
Yeah.
we went,
Yeah.
people were like, "Did you see Jurassic Park? Did you see Jurassic Park?" And people were critiquing it and liking it, and people were thinking it was real, that this was a real science thing that was about to happen.
Uh,
And it
that
actually
that.
convinced me. I was like so young at the time. I was 10 years old, and I was
Oh
thinking we're
right,
about ready
right.
to start cloning dinosaurs. It was that.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was like kind of laughing at that because
Yeah,
I was like 19 when this came, 18 or 19 when this came out.
yeah,
So, but I'm like, oh, you thought that was real? But I'm like, to a 10-year, because when I was a kid and I used to watch the Godzilla movies, the old ones, the Japanese ones, and they'd have like the news on there, and I thought that was like the actual news.
the actual.
Yeah, and
Yeah, it must be real if the news is on there.
right, I'm like, oh my god, and like the
They
only
couldn't
reason
just
I figured
hire
out it
actors
was,
to do that. It's gotta be
but
real.
the one complaint I have about Jurassic Park, the movie, is nobody knew what raptors were. And as dangerous as they were, why would you make them?
I
They,
know. I know.
no,
As an adult now, you're thinking
yeah,
the
that's not
liability of having raptors,
like,
and you
hey,
can't
want to
even
go see
control
a
them to get them
dinosaur
in
that
the
nobody's
damn
ever heard of?
thing.
You got to make the popular ones. Or Triceratops. But I'm like, I wouldn't have made raptors because unless it was accidental.
It was funny. Like every time I've watched this movie before, I was like on the side of how cool it would be. And then the last time I watched it, which was just a few months ago, I was totally on like Jeff Goldblum's side. Like, why are
Yeah,
we doing this? You're totally
yeah,
irresponsible. And on the lawyer side, and how they were like, we need to like make sure that this is safe and people have already died. And it was just like, yeah, this is a horrible idea,
right.
honestly.
Yeah, the logistics of it and the legal stuff and the safety of it. It's like
Hmm.
the more you watch it, it's like you guys probably should have. Cause I know it's neat and everything like that. You want everyone to see the dinosaurs, but like you can't have them face to face with a carnivorous monster from billions of years
And
ago.
simple
You
little
know,
electric fences wasn't enough. It
right?
wouldn't be
Yeah.
enough for me to go to a Tyrannosaurus exhibit and be right up. I wouldn't feel comfortable doing that. I would be like,
No,
nope,
I don't.
I don't trust those fences.
No,
All
I
right, well
don't.
that was a great movie. That was like one of the first, really big steps in CGI where they animated
Yeah,
the
no, I think they did.
T
They
Rex.
did really well with that. I really did enjoy the movie. I thought it was great.
This
Uh,
apparently was the movie that convinced George Lucas to start developing his next Star Wars movies, the prequels.
no, I could see that.
Once
Yeah,
he realized that the characters that he wanted to do in his movies could now be done with the current level of technology and CGI.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, cool.
I mean, and it didn't turn out. Not everybody agrees with him because there was characters like Jar Jar Binks,
Yeah, well, that
and some of the
I like
CGI
on
just looks 90s. It doesn't hold up quite as well.
I
But
like on Big Bang Theory. Sometimes they would pick on each other. If you were like the loser of the day, they'd call you like Jar Jar Banks or something like that.
yeah, that's an unfortunate
I
character.
really
But
don't know why they stuck him in there that much. But anyway, no, Jurassic Park was a great.
yeah, Sam Neill, he's one of my favorite actors of all time. He's
I
just got such a variety of different things he's in. Have you seen In the Mouth of Madness? He
I
plays a
haven't, but
crazy guy.
I would imagine he's good at it because his role in the Jurassic Park series was like very believable and very much
Did
like
you see Event
affecting.
Horizon?
What's that?
Event Horizon. Have you seen that one?
Oh yeah, yeah. I
He's in that.
it's been so long. I might have seen that in the theater too, and if I have, I haven't seen it.
So that's a
So,
great movie. That's a great movie. Next up is
oh, Last Action Hero.
I
This
picked
was
this one because we already had a Stallone movie, so there was a Schwarzenegger movie also that year.
yeah. This one was it. It just didn't have it. You know what I mean? It was
I'd like to
it,
watch it again, but I can't find it on any of my current streaming services that I have.
really.
Mhm.
Um, this one and the other one with Sinbad with the Jingle All the Way. They they were kind of supposed to be like the funny action movies, but
Uh huh.
it just didn't have it. You know?
I actually like Jingle All the Way. I have a soft
No,
spot
I
for
do.
that one.
It's not like it's actually definitely better than Last Action Heroes, but
I think I've seen
it's
this movie once, so in my
yeah.
mind, it's better than probably what I think it is because I was 10 or young or a little older when I saw it. But
Oh, okay,
it
okay,
was kind of like one of those movies where, as a kid, you believed you could do this stuff,
right.
with an action hero and be in the movie, kind of, and live out that fantasy.
No, for sure, for sure.
But I think
Um,
I remember Ron Howard's brother was in that movie as one of the bad
yeah,
guys.
he's in a lot of movies. He's in the Austin Powers movies too,
Oh yeah,
and
that's another one I
Little
gotta
Nicky.
rewatch.
Have you ever seen Little Nicky?
Yep.
Do you remember when he was looking for the girl at the college and there was that guy with the he was doing all the drag stuff
Uh-uh.
and he was
It's
dancing around?
no, I don't remember that.
No, okay, it's Ron Howard's brother that does that. But
Gosh, he's in so many things though.
but
He's so
the
distinct
last action
looking.
one is it's kind of like a parody movie where they do all the cliches and stuff, but
Yep.
it just didn't. There's a kind of a reason why we don't talk about it today. You know.
Written by Shane Black. He's
Oh,
he's famous too now. All right.
is he?
Next up is Dennis the Menace.
Oh boy.
I picked this because I just remember going to see this one. I think I went with my grandma again. She was kind of the person that would take me to the movies a lot.
Oh, okay,
And
okay.
this was like, you had the cartoon,
Yep,
and then when
yep.
they made the live action, and they had what's his name who plays
Mr. Wilson.
Mr. Wilson?
Um, it's not.
It's
I'll
not
know the name
Jack,
when I hear. Who is it? Was he in Grumpy Old
because
Men?
Grumpy Old Man. Yeah, there's the two. Now I can't remember his name right now, but
We'll get it in a minute. Of course, it's probably in the. No, it's not even in the
it's not in the
sketch
little
book.
write up. Yeah, but
Wow.
yeah, having him in it, and I don't know if that child actor ever became anybody famous because
I
I
don't
don't
think he did.
recognize him, but that might have been his only thing. But Christopher Lloyd was in that movie as
Oh
like
boy, I like
the
him.
villain,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
and he gets a lot of crap that happens to him because of Dennis, and it's funny to watch that movie. I think it's
I
pretty
don't.
well done. It's pretty well done.
I think they did pretty well with it, and it's kind of like the goofy comedy with jokes that kids would more like.
It's almost kind of
So
like a Home Alone style movie where the
yeah,
kids
you know what? Yeah,
setting
where like the
traps and beating up the
but
adult.
yeah, like the people get hurt, but like in it, you put some goofy sound effects in it. It's like a
Yeah, the cartoon
kind of like
type
a Three
style.
Stooges, almost like a Three Stooges kind of comedy, but more kid like. So
Next up,
we can.
I
Oh geez,
I included this one because I really remember the first one,
yeah.
and I probably get the first and the second mixed up because I really haven't seen them enough to know which is which.
The
But
I could tell you everything, anything you can think of. I can tell you from the first one and the second
oh
one.
yeah,
I've seen the first one of this so many times. It was one of those movies where the friends I was hanging out with, they had a VCR, which was a big deal at the time. And what was this, 93? Yeah, it was
mhm.
I turned 18 that year. We watched that movie like on the weekend. We just put it in the VCR and just play it, and then we'd watch it like again. And it was just, we quote the lines in it all the time. So, but
Nice.
yeah, Weekend at Bernie's. The sequel, it's pretty,
Which is
it
better,
was
the
one,
first one or the second one?
the first one's better.
Is it?
It was one of those movies where it was basically the same joke, just in a different setting,
Yeah,
and it was a little more over the top. So,
I gotta
but
watch
I
that one
mean,
again because I don't even
you
know
look at
how they could do a second one. Honestly, when you think about it, it's like, what's the premise to get them back in to
right,
doing
it's
all
like,
this again?
is the body gonna start to smell now?
Exactly.
It's like, but
Is it the same
eventually
dead
you
guy?
see
I
them.
mean, what the heck?
Like the guy was dead and they just carried him around the whole movie.
Yeah,
I will say the premise of that is pretty damn original because
yeah,
whatever reason it was, there was a hit out on the two guys, but they couldn't kill him when he was around, so they just kept Bernie around and like tied his legs to theirs and walked them through the town or whatever.
yeah. I gotta watch that sequel again because I think everything I remember is from the first one. And I
Yeah.
don't really
Well,
know.
there's a reason for that too. The second one didn't really it didn't need to be made. I
Here's
mean,
the next one.
oh, Free Willy. Oh,
Uh-oh.
well, that's
We're about to run out of time. We're at 10 minutes, just so
oh
you know.
okay.
So we'll get through
No,
as much as we can, and then we can always pick it up later.
cool. I like the idea of this movie getting because I'm not a big like animals in captivity person,
Yeah.
so I like the idea of get rescuing a
Who
killer
is in
whale.
this?
So
Is this the movie with that kid from Home Improvement? Was he in it?
um, I don't
Jonathan Taylor
Jonathan Taylor
Thomas?
Thomas.
Or no? I
I
might be thinking of a
I
different movie, but
yeah. I don't think this is him,
I
but
can't remember
I
which
think it
child
was.
actor they had in this one, but
Yeah.
I'm getting
I
it
don't think it. I
confused.
don't think he's a famous kid in this thing. I don't. I think this might have been one of those kids that did a movie and then just like disappeared.
One off, yeah. But it's a movie that, is I think everybody's aware of it. I haven't seen it in forever, but
When it's
it's something
and
that
it's
sticks
known
with
for
you.
the Michael Jackson soundtrack or the song.
Hmm.
So the Michael Jackson song,
Yeah.
that's got big. I think that helped the movie too, where they kind of got bigger off each other. So
So isn't it crazy that all these are 1993? I mean, it just feels
yeah,
like
because if you'd asked me earlier today what year Free Willy came out, I would have. I don't even know if I would have even been able to make a guess.
we're only halfway through my list, and already it's like to have that many hits and things that I would feel excited to go to the movie theater for in 1 year is
Yeah.
already
Oh,
that's
absolutely.
more than this year. Like nowadays, there's like 5 times I go to the movie theater. It's like everything else I could just wait for,
Yeah,
But
I'm like that too. So the
all right, this
last time I
next
went.
one is a Halloween classic.
Oh boy.
So '93
Oh,
was
okay.
Hocus Pocus.
What? I want to hear your opinion on this movie first before I say mine.
So I don't like this movie
Okay. Is there anything
because
else? Is there anything
um,
else?
it just I never watched it as a kid, and the first time I watched it was like last year,
Me too.
and it was just like okay. And then they came out with the second one, and I didn't find it funny or anything. It just was kind of like it's not for me. So that's how I
That's
think of it.
yeah. That's the best way I describe it because I watched it with my friend who, and she was one of those people who's a fan of it. And when
Yeah,
it was over, I'm like, what the hell did I just sit through?
it wasn't on my radar at all. And then
No.
the last couple of years, I kept hearing about how Hocus Pocus is this Halloween classic, and I'm like,
Yeah.
that's not one I ever watched with my family.
No, me
And then I
neither.
did see it, and it was just kind of like it felt like it was a Disney Channel like movie of the week type thing. It didn't feel like a
Yeah, you know what? That's the other thing too. I didn't get like a movie vibe out of it,
hmm
and
yeah,
like
kind of like a TV movie vibe.
halfway through it, I'm just like, like I don't get what's happening, and I don't understand why. Are these three people supposed to be threatening? You know what I mean? It
Yeah,
just
it's
didn't.
so
I don't know.
corny. And then they
But I
made
guess
that sequel, and it's like that was
yeah.
worse, in my
I'm
opinion.
not gonna. I'm never. I can pretty much guarantee I'm never gonna see the sequel.
I kind of watched it. I was kind of like watching while I was cooking, like it was
Um.
on type of thing,
Yeah.
and barely taking it in, but it wasn't anything I was interested in. But I included it because just so many people talk about this movie, but it's like
That's why I was excited to see it. I'm like, oh,
me
this is gonna
growing
be
up,
cool.
it wasn't on my radar. Like
Yeah.
Halloween movies I was watching was like actual Halloween, like with Michael Myers and
Yeah. Yeah.
um,
And even still, it can be comical or goofy, but this one was. I'm just like,
yeah.
it just didn't make any sense to me, and I didn't. I'm not interested in it. Oh,
Well,
this is one of my favorite movies too.
Dan Aykroyd. I
I
haven't seen this
freaking
one in
love, and
forever.
because they used him and Jane Curtin, and they were the Coneheads from the
Saturday Night
original
Live.
series. Yeah, yeah. No, I first Michael Richards is in this movie.
Is he really?
Yeah, he's in the opening scene. They crash land in the water, goes to a hotel in New Jersey, and rings the bell. And the guy turns around, and it's Kramer from Seinfeld.
That's crazy.
Yeah. No,
I
I
really got
know
to see
so
this
many.
again because it's.
Chris,
I have
yeah,
good memories of this one.
Chris Farley's in it, and
Yeah,
yeah, the
he's one of
lovely.
my
But
favorite actors with Bill Murray and Chris Farley. Like I love those guys.
yeah, yeah. No, the Coneheads is one of my. I love this movie. I
Yeah.
really do. Dan Aykroyd plays the role so well. Where he speaks so articulate, and like when they describe things, they're so wordy about it. Like they're doing the crossword puzzle, and the word for pyramid, like he describes it like it's 15 adjectives or something.
I remember
And
how
he,
they sleep standing up and their
yeah,
bed is
yeah,
like
like
against the
they're
wall.
in a bed, but they're standing up, and they eat like 15 bucks of Pop Tarts, like 20 waffles, and
I need to
whatever.
watch that
So
again because I couldn't really even tell you like what was the plot of the movie. I just remember like bits and pieces.
yeah, well, basically they crash landed here. They tried to get home, but the daughter fell in love with a guy, and
Mm.
they ended up just staying. So
Is it Chris
and
Farley who she's in love with? Is that
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Okay. And I
yeah,
remember it being on Saturday Night Live because that was the time where I was watching that show a lot.
yeah, yeah.
They had a lot of good
So,
skits and actors
but no,
in
this
the
is
'90s.
it's the best Saturday Night Live movie by far,
Yeah.
and it's just and Dan Aykroyd's great, and I mean so is Jane Curtin and everybody. So no, it's ooh yeah, we were talking about that earlier. That the first time I saw that really like the escape from the bus
Yeah.
and
The
and
Fugitive, Harrison
running.
Ford, Tommy Lee
Yes, yeah,
Jones.
No, he was phenomenal, and this was one of his best performances too. I really,
That train sequence is like really intense too.
yeah, that was big, and then it just like every scene, it just kept going and going, and then when Tommy Lee Jones and his cops were almost caught him, and then he took off and hid
He
in the
jumps off
parade.
that
And
dam into the river below. Remember
what's that again?
when he's got him in the tunnel in the dam,
Oh
and he
yeah, he
jumps
goes
off.
on.
He's like,
Oh
"I don't care," or something like that.
right, yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
Great scene.
no, it
And
was
remember how
that
they
was good.
parodied this in
Oh,
one
the
of the Naked Gun
lesbian
movies?
wrongfully accused.
Wrongfully accused. It was a Liam Neeson, right?
But
No,
it's
no.
the Leslie Nielsen.
Leslie Nielsen. I'm getting them confused
Yeah,
now.
but yeah, we were talking about but no, that one was the Leslie Nielsen one
The
is
train
hilarious.
keeps popping up and chasing him
Yeah,
around.
yeah, and then it's like dead quiet and searching for it, and
Ah.
it's just, yeah, and it honks. But people are like, "What the hell is this?" And I'm like, "Dude, I'm like, you don't understand how funny I find
It
those
was very
movies. It's
funny.
just, it's,
That was
oh
a good
boy."
movie.
But the ending of this too was great, and
Hmm.
the way everything comes together,
The
and
one
like
armed man.
you're glad it's over, but you feel sad because he lost his wife during
Oh yeah.
his his friend was, and like people close to you will freaking hurt you. That's his own friend freaking
Yeah, and it shows
had
you how
something
the
to do with
justice system, if you don't take things in your own hands sometimes, there ain't nobody gonna fight to figure out the
it.
truth.
Right? Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, he was totally
So
innocent.
no, that 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 movie right there, the future. I think that's the best movie that came out in 1993.
Wow.
So
That's pretty
in
strong
my
words right
opinion,
there.
I like
It's
it
a good
better than
one.
Jurassic Park. So,
Well, how does it compare to this?
oh jeez,
I
I don't think I've seen this one. No, I haven't.
don't think I have
And
either. It's just on there
there's this.
because they had a run of Jason movies going on throughout my entire childhood.
Well, I think the one of them called the final chapter, but there's like four more after it. Because
And he
there's
fights
just
Freddy. He goes to
yeah,
space.
Freddy versus Jason. Yeah, and it's just like guys, I know it's a cash grab, but
Yeah.
it's just terrible. I think after the third Jason movie, I
He
think
goes to
that's when I was.
Manhattan after that, and that's when it just.
Oh, if you ever, I don't know, do you have like Netflix or whatever?
Uh huh.
Um, there's a show from this era, earlier '90s, called Friday the 13th, and there's another one called A Nightmare on Elm Street, but they weren't affiliated with the movie. They were just called that, and they were like those late night, like Tales from the Crypt type shows.
Really?
But look them up sometime. One of them was called Friday the 13th. The other's called A Nightmare on Elm Street. They're both called the series. Friday the 13th the
When are they
series.
from?
What's that?
When were they produced?
I want to say late '80s, early '90s.
Oh, okay.
But it was around the time of like the Tales from the Dark Side and all that stuff was
Yeah.
really popular. But
They're on Netflix.
but yeah, Jason Goes to Hell. I'm like, what the hell is this? You know?
So I think we're gonna
And
stop there for now because we're about ready to lose our
okay,
our
um,
connection
did,
here.
did did you want to do any more videos tonight, or do you want to just do whatever tomorrow or whenever?
Um, Let me. I have a couple things to do, and then
Okay,
I'll come back and we'll see how where we
yeah,
are
yeah.
because
I'll
I got to
I'll
go do
probably
some
I might
dishes.
go out. I might go.